edition of Game, we revisit a classic with XCOM Enemy Unknown. It's a blast from the past as we discover the origins of Lara Croft. And a look at some games set to explode onto the scene. Don't you dare touch that remote. It's time for Game. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Game, your one-stop digital shop for all things perfectly pixelated. It's Kelly with you here today. Sorry I had to dash off for a couple of weeks, but I trust that Paula took good care of you. Anyway, I'm back and there is no excuse for getting this show going. We have a cracker of a show lined up with games to blow your mind, blasts from the past, and some to make you laugh. So let's kickstart today's show with a look at the headlines.
Kicking things off with a little news from Redmond. Need a little more Master Chief in your life? Well, to celebrate the launch of the upcoming 4th installment of the Halo franchise, Microsoft has launched an all-new live-action miniseries so gamers can get their fix just ahead of the game's release on November the 6th. Titled Forward Unto Dawn, these mini-movies aim to give gamers a glimpse into life before the Covenant War as we follow a group of cadets, all training to be the next generation of soldiers in Earth's battle against the insurrectionists. Split into 5 episodes, each of which will run about 20 minutes, look out for a stellar performance by the Chronicles of Narnia's Anna Popplewell in the familiar military garb of the UNSC. Now for those hoping for a little keepsake, the extended version of Forward Unto Dawn will also be available as part of the limited edition release of Halo 4. But for now, you can watch the first episode on the Machinima Prime channel on YouTube. In related news, it looks like another big video game franchise is set to get its own TV treatment. Yep, the exploits of the B-Squad boys from EA's Battlefield Bad Company are currently being adapted for the small screen with the series already in development. Following the not-so-fab foursome as they transition from military life to the private sector, the hour-long show is billed as an action comedy. No surprises there. Highly praised for its emphasis on off-kilter battlefield humor, Bad Company received positive reviews for its characters, and if the series ends up anything like the trailers for the game, we're hoping for lots of laughs and a few misplaced explosives when the series finally hits our screens.
Rainbow sprinkles are the way forward with the donut.
Absolutely, because then you get the different textures.
This is supposed to be a stealth mission.
Okay.
And finally, to wrap up this week's headlines, some rather sad news for Gears fans. After a 20-year career of creating and developing some of video gaming's most recognizable names, the design director of the Gears of War series is leaving the video game business. Citing a move to the next stage of his career and a need for a break, Cliff Bleszinski has announced that he has left Epic Games in a statement on the company's website. Now, no news yet on what Cliffy B will be doing next, but with his name still on the slate as executive producer for the upcoming Gears of War movie, seems like he's not quite yet ready to give up on Marcus Phoenix just yet. Bleszinski's resignation is the latest in a series of high-profile departures for the company this year, with producer Rod Ferguson leaving in August to work on the upcoming BioShock Infinite.
Well, I'm sure this isn't the last we've seen of Cliff, but we wish him the best of luck with whatever he takes on in future. I'm sure it will be just as epic. And speaking of epic, it's time for us to cross over to Frags. His challenge this week was to digest and pick apart the brand new interpretation of the 1994 classic UFO Enemy Unknown. 8 years and a name change later, let's see what else is new in XCOM Enemy Unknown.
Hey gamers, Fraggy here, and in today's Game in Review, time to share the cover of a title that the tactical fans have been eagerly awaiting for the longest time. It's a reimagination of one of the genre's most influential titles. Let's check in with XCOM, Enemy Unknown.
Hello, Commander. In light of the recent extraterrestrial incursion, this Council of Nations has convened to approve the activation of the XCOM project. You have been chosen to oversee our first and last line of defense. Good luck, Commander.
Originally created all the way back in 1994, the original XCOM was a tour de force in the world of classic strategy games, long before titles like StarCraft even hit the scene. Featuring a unique blend of turn-based, almost board game-like mechanics, XCOM combined resource management and top-down battlefield tactics, making for one of the most fulfilling strategy experiences you could get your hands on at the time. Fast forward some 18 years, geez, I'm getting old, and the newly minted remake is now out on shelves, with the promise of even more sleepless nights on the horizon. Coming to us from the very same team who brought us Civilization, XCOM Enemy Unknown looks to revive the classic franchise, staying true to what the fans loved in the original, while at the same time evolving and growing the experience to appeal to a wider audience who may be new to all this turn-based strategy. Putting you in control of a secret paramilitary organization, the all-new XCOM takes the age-old formula and reworks it for a modern audience.
Commander, you've chosen to deploy operatives from each soldier class. This balanced force has a good mix of skills.
Adding in all-new weapons, updated gameplay, and little 2012 tweaks like customizable soldiers, all brought to you in beautiful high definition. But while the original was wildly hailed as one of the best PC games of all time, 18 years is a ridiculously long time for any franchise to remain dormant. And truth be told, the world of video games has grown by leaps and bounds since then. So, I guess the question is, does this revival come with enough packed in to stand up to the likes of more modern strategy giants? Or are we just looking at this through rose-tinted goggles? Well, stick around, because as Commander Fraggy likes to say, these aliens don't come in peace, they're leaving in pieces.
He's dead.
Okay, so first a little heads up on what you'll be getting into, because underneath all that action-heavy combat that you see in the cutscenes, XCOM is still the same nervy game of tactical choice and chance that I remember playing as a kid. The game is all about minute-to-minute choices. Do you risk dashing to save the life of a VIP?
You have to help me!
Or hang back and hope that the aliens miss? Do you try to take out a cluster of enemies with a well-placed grenade? Or use a slightly less destructive method so you can harvest those precious alien artifacts, so vital for your research? Whatever you decide has permanent consequences. Neglect one of the member countries in your delicate alliance, and they'll leave the coalition, leaving you with less resources to fight off the alien invasion. Have a soldier die out in the field, and he's gone for good.
We got a KIA.
Another thing I really liked were the customization options, which really help lend a personal touch to each and every member of your team. Squad members all come with their own names and can be decked out with a unique set of abilities as they gain more battle experience. Now you'll cry when they die, but this sense of responsibility, I think, is what makes XCOM so addictive, and the personalization really helps make any misstep hit home. Okay, so overall, not too many problems with Enemy Unknown, but I did find that with all the concessions made to make the game available on consoles, if you're not playing with a pad, there are a few issues with how Enemy Unknown handles. First off, we don't get a free camera, so navigating the battlefield can sometimes be a chore, especially when multiple levels of elevation are involved. Also, another thing, the action camera cutaways can sometimes suffer from weird collision glitches as enemies warp through their surroundings. Little things, but noticeable nonetheless. You know, the fact that XCOM is coming out on consoles this year is pretty amazing, because for the longest time, console gamers have been force-fed on a diet of nothing more than platformers and first-person shooters. And with XCOM, gamers on the Xbox and the PS3 will finally be able to dig into a genre of gaming that PC gamers have enjoyed for years. Now I know, action games are great, but with XCOM, thinking and tactics really come into play. And the sense of tension is really something that I've missed playing video games. Cursing the screen for every failed percentage roll, or just the sheer joy of popping off a critical shot when the tables are turned.
Bye-bye.
What's more, with the free demo available on Steam right now, XCOM is a masterful return to glory, and a game that any gamer worth his salt should definitely check out.
I reckon that one's worth picking up, don't you think? Well, for those of you that planned in advance and pre-ordered on Steam, there were several bonuses included in the package, namely the classic XCOM soldier and customizable options. I love being able to customize stuff, it's just fun. Anyway, Team Fortress 2 and Civ 5 were also thrown in to sweeten the deal. Now, if you took advantage of it, well done you. Right then, break time, but stick around, because when we come back, it's a blast from the past with your favorite DC characters shown in a brand new realm. And an inside look at the lady that made khaki pants and army boots look kick-ass. It's up next on Game.
I'm in a nightmare.
Catch me if you can.
This will be a blast!
Welcome back to Game, and what a return for your favorite DC characters. The way they've managed to retain the characteristics of Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Green Arrow, etc., whilst creating a platform that looks like a never-ending epic fight scene. It's amazing. Launch date, April 2013. But anyway, instead of going forward, it's time now for us to take a step back as we discover the origins of Tomb Raider in this week's Inside.
We're in downtown San Diego. We're at Nerd HQ. Fans, the public, will get to play the game for the first time ever. Are you nervous?
This is the most nervous time of the entire game. This is huge for us. This is the first time we're giving anybody the opportunity to put their hands on the game. It's not finished yet.
It's hard to send it out into the world like that. It's a little young, it's a little fresh.
When you put it in the public's hands, you're getting a very raw, unfiltered, like, hey, this is what we love and this is what we don't.
You'll start to read about it now. You'll start to see it online. You'll start to get people's perspectives.
Why make an origin story? You could just kind of continue with the Lara Croft Tomb Raider saga, but you didn't. Why?
We didn't start with the idea of doing an origin story, actually. We started with the idea of doing something fresh.
There haven't been very many games that have the opportunity to go back and tell a true origin story. There is very few games like this.
In the history of the Tomb Raider franchise, there has not been a female lead writer until now, Rhianna Pratchett. Rhianna Pratchett.
Yep.
Does it take a woman to know a woman?
It probably helps, but I don't kind of think about it as much as everyone else does. I tend to think of myself as being a writer first. There is some of me in her, absolutely. She's very bookish, she's very in her head. I went to public school, I actually learned archery, and I genuinely studied Egyptology. I wanted to be an Egyptologist.
No way.
You know, I've always been a huge fan of kick-ass females. I mean, I grew up on Terminator and Aliens.
Yeah.
You know, fighting aliens in the future. I thought that was what girls did. Lara's actions affect her character and her emotional state, and so the first kill for us was a big thing. It's not comfortable to watch, and it shouldn't be.
Oh, God!
And it is about picking yourself up, despite the fact that you're scared. You can't have bravery without fear.
John Stafford, you're kind of the dialogue
typist, word monkey.
The words that you've been speaking for so long.
Yes.
From this man.
Everything that I've been through that's been extremely emotionally draining and painful, I have him to blame for. So we'll have words later about it.
What were the challenges stepping into the heart and mind of a character like Lara Croft, who we've known for quite some time?
Yes. Players' expectation is...
You want to just jump right in, guns blazing?
Controller, I'm awesome. Challenge for me is to show her vulnerable.
We're shipwrecked on an island inside the Dragon's Triangle.
Still have a very playable game, but also show real emotional character. It's very difficult to do that in game.
Please come and get me.
You can do this, Lara.
When you have really extreme circumstances, you have really extreme emotions.
What the hell? Can't hide from me, outsider!
It's all about her survival. She's basically willing to do whatever it takes. There's people trying to kill you. You know, things are really extreme.
Listen, I'm gonna get you out of there. I promise. I promise that.
I didn't want any lines to sound gamey. There was a good collaboration of making sure that really that didn't happen.
That's very difficult writing, you know? How do you write a line that isn't just like, I should go there?
Yeah.
You know? You know, I mean, that's...
I bet there's something hidden in that crate.
I want you to love this game in a way that really feels like the first time you played it, but do it in a way that people have never seen before. For me, it's crazy not to look at this as an opportunity to really start that dialogue.
This is the game of our careers.
Okay, I'll confess to idolizing Lara Croft when I was growing up, and I'm sure many of you guys spent hours drooling over her as well. I'll also confess to doing the whole army pants, boots, crop top thing. Yeah, it probably looked better on her than it did on me. And on that embarrassing note, we'll move swiftly along to a short break. But don't go anywhere, because it's time to head into the depths of the unknown with Lost Planet 3. And a host of games to get you going, all coming up in the not-so-distant future. Stick around, it's all on Game.
Jim?
Hey, beautiful. I'd love to say that I'm getting used to it, that the cold is growing on me, but it ain't.
Nevik believes this can solve the energy crisis on Earth?
I believe it can.
There's something the old man's not telling us.
Believe me, James, this place has secrets.
What the? What are you doing?
Boss, we have a saboteur in the base.
They told me we were the only ones on this planet.
Welcome back. Now that one's set for release in 2013 and we'll see if Earth can still be saved. Speaking of being saved though, there's talk of absolution in the air. But the question is, would you absolve a hitman? Well, is there hope for Agent 47? Only time will tell when it explodes onto the scene in this edition of The Big Bang.
Up first in this week's edition of The Bang. Time for some sneaky silencers at the ready as we catch up with the original assassin in Hitman Absolution. That's right, our follicularly challenged friend Agent 47 is back. And this time, he's got revenge on his mind. Now, this latest bit of footage takes us through one of the new features in the game, an online offering called the Contracts mode. In this mode, players are tasked with taking out specific targets in various shady situations. But key to all this contract killing, you've also got to make your escape undetected. At your disposal are the usual assortment of Triggerman tricks, like silent takedowns, unexpected distraction, and of course the much-loved silenced pistol. Also new to the series, something called Instinct Mode, a feature which enables Agent 47 to predict how enemies will patrol the area, allowing you to gain a positional advantage when the deed needs doing. Already shaping up to be one of the holiday must-buys. If you like your murder to come silent like the night, look out for Hitman Absolution when it releases in November. Next up, we move from hired gun to the globe-trotting military endeavors of the world's most elite fighting force. Taking out high-risk targets since 1999, this is Medal of Honor Warfighter. The sequel to 2010's Medal of Honor, Warfighter comes to us from the same team over at Danger Close. But judging from how the game looks, it seems like the team have picked up a few new skills when it comes to design. In this new trailer, players assume the role of returning character, Preacher. Having witnessed the assassination of a potential lead, our hero is forced to chase down the terrorist sniper, speeding through the bustling streets of Karachi in Pakistan. As you can tell, the Frostbite 2 engine makes the game look absolutely stunning, with some great-looking visuals throughout. Also, expect new locations like Basilan in the Philippines, down to firefights in Bosnia. Now, the developers have announced that parts of the single-player campaign have been inspired by actual events, so we're hoping that realism plays a bigger part in the sequel this time. So if you've rinsed out all your Call of Duty games and you just gotta have more of the same, Medal of Honor Warfighter is set to hit at the end of October. And last but not least, if you've ever wanted to play Mayor of Meeville, here's a little something to get excited over. Coming to us from the guys over at Maxis, SimCity is a reboot of the classic series with all the gameplay tweaks any good townie would expect from a 2012 release. Back this time with better graphics and updated gameplay, players will be able to do all the fun things that go into establishing a city, from building a residential colony and creating jobs, to supplying residents with water and electricity. In addition, for the first time, you can also choose for your adopted city to specialize in certain industries. For example, Choose tourism, and lo and behold, you've got things like casinos to attract the visitors. With a suite of new options to customize that city of yours, be a malevolent master or the terror of the town. Look out for SimCity when it hits the shelves in February next year.
Well, I hope that satisfied your desire for digital delights and cured a little of your god complex, your own personal metropolis. Can't wait for SimCity. And on that note, sadly, we've come to the end of another episode of Games. Usual deal applies. You can get your past episodes on espnstar.com/game, or if you're feeling chatty, talk to us on facebook.com/ESSGame. Or if you're up and about, just send us a tweet at ESSGame. But before we go, certain games have a bit of a reputation for being incredibly violent, thuggish, and in your face. GTA is one of them. In fact, it's probably as bad as they come, and that is why we love it. But there are some developers out there that would love to add a softer touch, a big, snuggly, cute, two-ton touch. Let's take a look at when games go bad, or maybe not necessarily bad, but really side-splittingly funny. Enjoy.